If you've ever looked into buying a home, you've probably heard of an FHA loan. It's a very popular option among home buyers due to its 3.5% down payment and lower credit score requirements. So you may be wondering, what exactly is an FHA loan? I believe to best answer that question, we need to go all the way back to 1929. Stocks on the New York Stock Exchange plummeted 50%, and this was the start of the Great Depression. Businesses began to fail, causing unemployment rates to soar, and the effects could be felt globally. When President Roosevelt was elected in 1932, part of his first 100 days in office was signing in the New Deal. And part of that New Deal was the creation of the Federal Housing Administration, also known as FHA, in 1934. Now, the housing market at the time was terrible, to say the least. Lenders would often only lend on 50% of the value of a home and require it to be prepaid in full within 5 to 10 years, often including a balloon payment at the end. That made attaining a home nearly impossible for most Americans. Only 1 in 10 people were homeowners. Now, the purpose of the FHA was to make homeownership more attainable for more Americans. And they did this by charging an additional fee. Crazy, right? Let me explain. The fees are actually called a mortgage insurance premium, and they're charged by the FHA through the lender to you. That allows the FHA to insure the lender against you, the borrower, in case you were to default on your payment. With less risk, lenders were willing to lend more money into higher risk borrowers with lower credit scores and higher debt to income ratios. So now you're probably wondering, well, how do you get an FHA loan and what are the requirements? To qualify for an FHA loan and to get that popular 3.5% down, you're going to need a credit score of 580 and above. If you don't meet that threshold, I actually have an entire video on how to get your credit score up, and I'll leave that down in the description, so be sure to check that out. The lenders like to see your debt to income ratio, or DTI for short, less than 50%. And if you don't know what that is, that's perfectly fine. Just be sure to subscribe and click the little bell. I actually have a full video of a first-time home buyer series coming out, and I'll go over that in depth, but I just want to keep this video short. Another requirement is the property has to be used as your primary residence, meaning you can't use the loan for investment properties. However, there are a few exceptions. The Federal Housing Administration will lend on small multifamily property of 1 to 4 units as long as you live in one of them. Now, in the home buying process with just about any loan, the appraisal and inspection can be huge hurdles to jump over, and it's no exception with an FHA loan. Being a real estate agent myself, you kind of start to get the idea of what kind of condition a property needs to be in to pass an FHA appraisal. Some of the things to look out for that could potentially cause a problem with getting your FHA loan approved are roof and structural problems, peeling paint, missing electrical outlet covers, holes in the walls, and the utilities are also required to be on. So a lot of the times, like in foreclosures and the sale of an estate, they're turned off. So you'll have to have your agent reach out to the agent of the seller and see if they can get those utilities turned on, because they have to be inspected to be approved for the loan. I know it probably sounds like I just eliminated most of the homes on the market to get an FHA loan on, but don't forget, whenever you're in contract to buy a home, after your inspection, you're going to have a period in which you can ask the seller to make those appraisal required repairs to get the loan to go through. With all that being said, let's go over the pros and cons so you can see if an FHA loan is the right thing for you. I'll go ahead and throw all of these up on the screen for you guys. For your pros, it's a lower down payment. You can have a lower credit score. You can also have a higher debt to income ratio, and it's a federally backed loan. Now, your cons, on the other hand, you are going to have to pay those mortgage insurance premiums. You're going to have higher interest rates sometimes. Not every home is going to qualify for an FHA loan, and then you're also going to have to live in it as your primary residence for at least 1 year. I hope this video helped answer some of your questions about FHA loans. I wanted to keep it kind of brief, but also cover the main points. I feel like I could sit here and talk about it all day long. Feel free to jump down in the comment section. I'd love to answer any questions that you still have after you're watching. Thanks everyone. See ya.